Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. All right, we're doing another weekend review, starting it off with the SPY. So what you're looking at is S&P 500 daily chart of the SPY. Seems pretty clean, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and mark it all up. There's a lot to go over, right? The whole point of this, why you see all of this, I'm going to tell you everything that's on this chart. First off, this from here to the highs is one Fibonacci retracement level. Then from this level to this high also is another Fibonacci retracement level. That's all the dashed lines. Then I have two upward trending trend lines. Then I have anchored VWAP at the lowest price bar at the 2018 lows, and an anchored VWAP at the lowest price of the June lows. On top of that, there's a 50 and 200-day moving average. Very, 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 very noisy. I understand that. But my whole point to this is everybody's saying how euphoric everybody is in the stock market right now. But on Friday, I saw nothing but people trying to call tops on the SPY, shorting the SPY, or buying puts on the SPY. And I will admit, listen, I'm looking to sell bearish call credit spreads. I'm looking at selling maybe the 315s with the protection at 320s, 311s, protection at 316s, 312s, 317s, a 5-wide spread, looking to get at least $1.65 credit for that spread. And since implied volatility is so low, I'm going to have to buy more contracts than normal. However, so far, the SPY has only on a closing basis broken these two uptrend lines here. Basically, I have to even draw through price levels here, so it's not clean, but this one is pretty clean. But besides that, there are these two trend line breaks for me for SPY, and not being able to show it here on Telechart on my Thinkorswim platform, I have trend reversal sell signals on the daily, 4-hour, 2-hour, 195-minute, 130-minute, and 78-minute charts. So that's all there, but there's still not enough confirmation for me to buy puts on the SPY yet or sell these credit spreads. Just look at the close on Friday. That wick took us back above the recent, these were the old resistance levels in November that have now acted as support levels, with SPY wicking through this horizontal line both times. On top of that, I use a volatility stop to try to keep me on the right side of the market, and I try not to go short the SPY until we're on the other side of the volatility stop, and you can see that's still below. But even if I take this trade, my whole point is that short term is the only bearish time frame I have on the SPY. There's support everywhere. There's support at these Fibonacci retracement lines here. This horizontal line here, which is old resistance in July and September, which is now support in October. So there's the Fibonacci lines, this horizontal line, the 50-day moving average, this Fibonacci retracement line, this anchored VWAP line, this Fibonacci, this 200-day moving average, this Fibonacci, this anchored VWAP line. So until and this is the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level from this low right here. So technically, as long as we pull back and at any point hold above this 61.8% retracement level, technically the uptrend is fine. And I always tell everybody, my biggest tell on a weekly time frame is always going to be this 200-week moving average. Until we see the SPY close below the 200-week moving average and fail to get back above it, yeah, you can call for corrections all you want in this market, but calling for a bear market, this 200-week line is like my ultimate tell. And even in the December 2018 sell-off, we found support right at there. So I understand people's bearishness here. This is a ridiculous V-shaped move here. I have negative divergences everywhere. I've got problems everywhere. The New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line is lagging. I mean, everywhere short term, I've got issues. But I want to make it very clear that it's all short term, that until basically this anchored VWAP and Fibonacci retracement line breaks, and still technically it can last all the way to this 61.8% level, there's no reason to be super bearish or think that a recession is around the corner. It's just ridiculous to me, especially if you look at the macro numbers, the leading economic indicators, the credit spreads. I mean, out there, everything you look at, there's just no reason to be bearish on this market other than a short-term level. And like I said, for that to happen, we're going to have to close, for me, closing below this 309 level, which should flip the volatility stop. And then I'll sell those credit spreads and I'll look for a more intermediate term price decline in SPY. But bottom line is, I don't even have Fibonacci symmetry lines here, because you can't do that on telechart, where you start from here, go to here, then go to the high, and whatever the 100% Fibonacci projection is more support levels. So like I said, there's no reason to be bearish in this market longer term, short term fine, but I tell you what, there's no way I'm going to be able to short this market heavily until we get that flip. And then, more on that note, I raised a lot of cash during Friday's session, but long signals that were on the ledger continued to fire and fill, and by the end of Friday, I'm going into Monday session with less than 1% cash once again. So with that note, let's go look at the current holdings that I've given out to these public videos, or have put out on these public videos. Sorry, I'm not a professional video maker, and I don't have a professional video editor to fix my verbal mistakes. My apologies. But let's go ahead and look at those long positions that I've given out publicly. I'm going to add, there's an add signal to the most recent one, and then we'll go over two 100% end-of-day sell signals, and then we'll just look at three big winners from Friday, since we are kind of short on time now. So the first one we'll start to look at the end-of-day sell signals, and the first one will be OLED. OLED was a long right here. I was hoping for a move back up here to 230.32, where I would take 50% of my profits and then let the rest ride. As OLED started to trend higher, everything was looking good, but on this session, it started to break out and reverse right back basically into the consolidation level. This was red flag number one. So what I did was initially I had a stop here and a stop here, 50% at each levels. I then add a stop right here. I now have a third, and third. Bam. Following this session now, OLED is completely acting wrong, but the balance of power is moving in the wrong direction. I've lost the green bop already. So not only am I already out of 2/3, but because we've lost that balance of power, it's not moving in the right direction. And my whole point with these new long signals is they work immediately, or we get out and we get into a new long position, because there's too many things that are acting right. And we'll go over those here in a little bit. But OLED, so far, holding that level, and then bam, on Friday, that's it. Not only did it hit my final sell stop, I removed and consolidated the one here, consolidated them all to 1 cent below 194.50. One was taken out at 194.50, but on a closing basis, this is a failure. So initially this was an emergency stop level, but since we lost green bop along the way, had reversal candles and couldn't move higher, it is now 100% end-of-day sell signal. But if you obeyed my uptrend line analysis, which I always, so initially the uptrend didn't look like this. This was the uptrend line. You can't use that. But once you have that down day here, you can now draw an uptrend line, and with the close below that uptrend line, you get completely out. So on an end-of-day basis, this would have been your full sell signal if you had size, or if you have a smaller account and you're looking for home runs immediately. But OLED, that's a failure. What's the total loss from that failure? Ouch! -5%. Keep that in mind for that loser, -5%. The next one, HOV. You'll remember, we profiled this stock as it moved. The long signal must have been, that must have been it right there. So the long signal was from here. Already removed it from the system. My apologies. We profiled it as it moved up, and in 1 month made a 90% gain. Well, guess what? It's now a full sell signal, and I'll tell you why. So we had this uptrend line following this red bop day. You can now draw an uptrend line, and if you were a very aggressive trader and or you had a small account and wanted to only be in winning positions, that close right there gets you completely out of HOV. However, for me, that was a close at 23.29. 22.55 is where I have 50% of my sell stops, profit stops. The rest are trailed all the way back down to this base low. Takes it out 50%. Everything is looking fine, but following this bounce and reversal with it losing green bop, I put 50% more here, and bam, right there, we get taken out of more. Now for me, I still had some HOV, and basically now it's a full sell signal. But for me, it's kind of splitting hairs between here and here. So for now, I'm going to have 50% of my final sell stop at 20.05 and the final one at 17.71, which guarantees I still lock in profits on the position. But why is it a full sell signal? Well, it is a confirmation close below the 50-day moving average, but it's not on above average or heavier volume. So that's not it. What it is for the first time since this going long, we have a high, a new lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. 1, 2, 3 lower highs, 1, 2, 3 lower lows. That is always a 100% sell signal. HOV is out. What is the gain on the position? If you're only trading on an end-of-day basis, which means you see my good to cancel buy stop limit levels, you see my good to cancel sell stop levels on the website where I tell you exactly how I'm trading this stock the next day. You bypass all that and just buy it at the market, and then now you get the full sell signal. And instead of doing the 50-50 like me, you just want to sell it all at market, you get a 28% gain. Take the 5% loser. That's a 23% gain on the 2 losers. So what are the winners I want to go over? Well, first off, let's go back and review LK. LK continues to move higher. Want to make it very clear that after this session, I went ahead and put a profit stop at 50% at 27.31. That was taken out. I put then another profit, I should say limit, a good to cancel sell limit at 30.33. That was taken out on Friday. So I basically have already lost 75% of my position. Now I have trailing stops on the LK, 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, 4 stop, 5 trailing stops. All of these obviously are for profit. These 2 would be for losses if it's ever hit. But I'm also adding another profit limit on 50% of what I have left at 30.63. So if I originally had 100, after this day I have 50, and after this day I have 25, now there's going to be 13 shares basically at 30.63, and the other 12 will be allowed to go as far as they want unless there's another big reversal candle. And with those remaining 25 shares now, I have trailing stops all the way down. But let's review. How much is LK up since the long signal? 38% in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions. And I'll remind everybody, I bought this one at the open at the market because it was gapping up above my good to cancel buy stop limit level, and I had a feeling this one was going to run, and run it did. But LK, 38% gain, short period of time. FULC. My last profit target on this one is at 15.94. Came very close on Friday, hitting 14.62. So I have 50% of my remaining profit targets at 15.94. After that, FULC will be allowed to rally as long as it wants to. We've already gone over FULC in the Wednesday video lesson, if I remember correctly, because Friday, Thursday, that would have been Wednesday. We definitely went over it. So I don't want to rehash too much on this, but this was the signal date. Never had enough cash to call it on here, but on here when it traded below my good to cancel buy stop limit order price of 605, I got the alert, had the capital, called it back on, it filled on this day. Since that session, FULC in less than a month's time is up a whopping 135% gain. I do not have the entire position, obviously. Following this reversal day here, I put 50% of my profit targets there at 10.99. The next day, 10.99 was hit. I then put my next profit target right here at 12.29. On this session, 12.29 was hit on Thursday. My next profit target is now 15.94. So I've paired out. But if you're doing it on a day market sell order, there's your 135% gain in under a month. 135% gain, 38% gain, 25% gain compared to that negative 5% loss. Not too bad. And then DMPI. I want to thank the unethical chat room pump and dump criminal enterprise that helped move this stock at the end of the day on Friday. New long signal on Thursday. This is a long signal. Hammer candle over candle on above average volume. Back-to-back pocket pivot point signals. Max Green Bop. This was given out to everyone who's a member of Big Way Trading on the platinum side. I only give out speculative long positions on that side. It was filled, and immediately that day, 50% of my stops go here, the final 50% there. First profit target, 99 cents. Next profit target, gap fill at 147. Well, luckily for me, at the end of the day, this was a pump and dump chat room's stock pick. Unfortunately, all the sheep of this chat room jumped into this name and made it go all the way to 109. I got the alert that one of my profit targets was hit, and we are sitting pretty. So with DMPI, the game plan is now 33% of my stops are here, 33% are there, 33% right there. First profit target is 147. Bet on the remaining shares. Next profit target is 266. But in one day, 28% gain. Pretty awesome. There's a lot of stocks that I'm long that aren't doing anything. I'm trying to show you the best, and I'm trying to show you the worst. 20% of my stocks that I ever go long make up for over 80% of my gains. It's stocks like DMPI, FULCK, and LK that make a year. But out of these three, I'm going to have about, I'd say, 15 that do nothing. So you never know which ones are going to work, but you get hints. High short float, biotech, there's just certain things. DMPI, it's just luck. That was just luck, and that's just the way the stock market works. So we've gone over the winners. We've gone over the losers. Let's go over all the public long positions and kind of run through these kind of fast. TSLA, this is the signal. This is the entry. Everything was working fine till Friday. I had 20, let's say, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 25% of my stops were here. That was hit intraday on Friday. But following Friday's session, BOP has completely fallen apart. That's a reversal in heavy volume. I now have 50% of my stops. It's actually splitting hairs between here, 330, and here, 328.02. So 50% of my stops are below 328.01, which will allow me to take profits on that part. 25% is here, and the final 25% is here. Remember those initial emergency stops? They're gone. Following this session, everything gets raised to just below where I went long at logical support levels. So I'm out of TSLA, but once again, do you see that uptrend line? If you go in with size or you have a small account, that's it. You're out of Tesla. You take your nearly 5% gain and you just run. You just get out. IPHI, we will no longer be going over this stock. I still actually have it here listed, but it is gone. It hit my final stop. Whenever IPHI broke this uptrend line, I moved my final stop to 1 cent below this low right here, which is the low, basically the pullback. Remember, the initial stops are always just emergency. And on this day here, knocked me completely out. But to me, it wasn't a full sell signal just yet. Full sell signal following Friday session. IPHI is what I would consider a failure. What is the loss on IPHI? 5%. Manageable. This is what we want to do with the losses. We want to keep them manageable. But IPHI, I will be removing, and we will no longer be going over. I'm drawing an X over it on my daily planner over here. SHOO. SHOO is still good, but SHOO is basically done. My final stop on SHOO is still, for now, right here at this low because we broke the uptrend line on lower volume, not heavier volume. And for now, my 50% stop was placed at 42.17 on Thursday evening. That was not hit on Friday because the low was the same as the low on Thursday. But 50% is here now. The final 50% is right there. Since going long, SHOO, I believe this was the long signal here, we still have a 3% gain. But once again, if you use that uptrend line, that's it. You should be out right there on Wednesday. It closed below the uptrend line. I believe we went over this. We should have gone over this. SHOO, you should be completely out of. But if SHOO closes below here, this will be my final stop. And if it closes below here on heavier above average volume and BOP goes negative before touching this level, whatever the next price low is, that will be my final stop. CPRT, everything looks fine. From the ad signal, it's already failed because we used that uptrend line. But I told everybody over and over, I've gone long back here, so I have a very long position. So this is the uptrend line basically that you would want to use. A close below it is a technical failure of CPRT. Following Thursday session, CPRT is now an earnings winner, and since the ad signal, it's up 7%. All is well with CPRT. ALGT has already violated its uptrend line. I believe we went over this on Wednesday, so if you have size, you should be out. For me, ALGT, it's the low right here is splitting hairs with the low right here. Remember, this was our initial emergency sell stop level. Well, I've already, I think on Wednesday, I let everybody know I've consolidated and raised it to 1 cent below this low here. It's still being tested, but so far it's still holding in. So ALGT for now, slight gains, nothing doing. But remember, a move below this low right here, I will be out. A close below this low, ALGT will be a full sell signal. SSTK never got filled. This was the long signal. It triggered by trading up and through my price level, but I did not get filled at Interactive Brokers. By the time it pulled back in and recreated an alert, didn't have 1% capital to ever call it on. So I never got to call it on these 2 sessions, never had the capital available. Now it's not pulling in, and following Thursday session, it closed below the uptrend line on heavier above average volume, lost the green bot. So that trigger and signal and price level that was still on my trader workstation canceled and removed on Thursday. I no longer have any interest in SSTK. It's still legit, but this is the final stop loss level. So I am no longer, you guys know where the final stop loss level is. It's 40.27. You should have 50% below 40.56. And then the final stop 40.27. It's splitting hairs. If you obey the uptrend line, you're completely gone. You no longer now have a position in SSTK. You would have sold it all at the market Friday morning, and that would have basically have left you with the loss of 1%. Woo! That's so painful. And that's it. But for me, I will no longer be tracking SSTK because I have even removed the order and no longer care about this stock, want this stock, have any interest in this stock. EVER was last weekend's long selection publicly. It's up 13%. Nothing to change here. Here's your uptrend line. I'll let you know, I have some tight stops, but remember, the minimum, I hate talking about the cash side, that I place in these trades is $5,000. That's the minimum position I take per trades. That's going to be 1% of the end of day account that I use. Withdraw money from this account, try to keep it around a certain level. 5K is the smallest position size I take. Only costs me $1 at Interactive Brokers per trade. Keep that in mind. If you go in bigger size, the uptrend line must be obeyed, and you might even want to get more creative with your uptrend line and use that one on half of it. And if it closes below there, you're out of 50%. Close below the uptrend line, you're out of 100. But for me, one stop, this is nuts, I know, but trust me, it's only $1 per trade for me. Larger size per trade relative to the cost of the commission. 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stop, 4 stop, 5 stop, 6 stop. I know that's absurd, but it works for me. It's always worked for me, so I keep using it. And then the final one I want to go over, which is also the new long position because it's an ad signal, is CCRN. Do you guys remember when CCRN was the long signal on Wednesday here? I said the first stop was 11.89. The final stop was the emergency stop. This is why I do that. The next session, all is well, but on Friday, they ran my first stop. So I got knocked out a half of it intraday on Friday. My stop was at 11.89. I got filled at 11.88. Interactive Brokers always treats me pretty well. There's almost never any really slippage if the stock is liquid. But with CCRN, by the end of the session, it's now giving me an ad signal. So not only for me is it an ad signal, it's also a buyback signal. So I have less than 1% of my account capital available for Monday, but it's larger than the 0.5% that I lost in CCRN on Friday. So the 190 shares that I lost on Friday, I'm buying back with a day market buy order on Monday. It's going to be only the second market order in 2 years after LK, but it's just to simply buy it back before anything else happens to trigger and then maybe not fill, and then that cash is tied up. Then by the time the real long signal at 12:22 triggers and I don't get filled there, it's could be another cluster you know what for me on Monday morning. And it always is when I have a lot of long positions on the books that I want to get long and I don't have enough capital because the market is strong. We'll see what happens on Monday morning, but that's my game plan with CCRN. I bought a total of 380 shares, lost 190 intraday. Going to buy back that 190 at the market to bring myself back full since it was a very bullish reversal higher. What you can't see on this chart because it's kind of flattish here is that 12.12 is a higher close than 12.11. If 12.12 would have been the open and 12.11 would have been the close, I would not be adding back to CCRN. But CCRN is printing a hammer candle over candle price bar on that uptrend line on heavier on above average volume. It's basically even with Thursday's level on an increasing BOP move. So you see BOP has been rising. That's good. Above average volume, bullish hammer candle over candle on the uptrend line. CCRN is the add signal. Once again, the lowest low, 50%, 1184. The final stop right there on CCRN. Okay, long video, but I don't know how else to make these short. I really don't. I only went over 2 losers. I could have added a loser. I only went over 3 winners. I could have added maybe another 4 to 5 to 10 that are hitting new highs since I went long. So I'm trying to keep these as short as possible and allowing you guys to learn as much as possible. Just to let you know, I don't really like promoting, but my website, there's a StockTwits membership where I just give out the quality long positions. That's super inexpensive. Then I have a gold membership site, which gives full commentary, all of the quality long positions, and a nightly video lesson. Monday through Friday, I make a video lesson every evening. And then there's a platinum level where you get the long positions like DMPI and FULC, which are not given on the quality page. LK is quality. Everybody got LK. But FULC and DMPI, only the platinum members of the website got those stock watch list trade ideas for the next session. And then also you get access to the chat room. I'm there all the time. I'm making this video on Sunday. I'll be in my chat room all Sunday long while I watch football and do market research. So if you like the video lesson, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I'm trying to do video lessons every Wednesday and Sunday. When the market's weaker, when I have more time, I have less orders to manage on an end-of-day basis, I'll make more videos. I also day trade during the day, so you'll see me long a lot of positions end of day, but if you read in the description, you'll see that intraday, there's really only 3 to 4 stocks on any one day. That would be max. That I focus on, and I've never, since I started to day trade along with the end of day stuff, have ever held more than 2 names intraday at one time. So I'm max long, 1 to 2 stocks intraday. Max focus is 3 to 4 stocks intraday. But on an end of day basis, hell, if they're all moving up and not hitting my trailing profit stops, I could be long 200 stocks at 0.5% of my account capital because I treat it like a robot. Everything is good to cancel buy stop limits. Everything is good to cancel sell stops. Everything is good to cancel sell limits, profit limits. And that's just how I work from intraday to end of day. But if you're interested, those options are out there. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And if you're around in the chat room on Monday morning, I'll see you in the chat room. Aloha.